Hello students, today we'll be covering Unit 7, Lesson 1, Graphing Ordered Pairs of Whole Numbers. Our learning target today, students will understand and use the coordinate grid to locate and plot given points using ordered pairs. Let's take a look at some of the definitions. First off, coordinate plane or coordinate grid. Those will be used interchangeably. What these mean, it's a two-point dimensional system in which a location or a point is described by coordinates. They give its distance from two perpendicular lines called axes. In this lesson, the term coordinate grid will be used, but they mean the same thing, coordinate plane or coordinate grid. You might be asking, well, what is this origin? I've heard it before. The origin is a fixed point from which the coordinates are measured, the point at which the x-axis and the y-axis intersect when they cross each other, labeled 0, 0 on the coordinate plane. This is our origin right here. This is 0, 0. 0 on the x-axis and 0 on the y-axis. Now, the axis is a reference point for the measurement of distances on the coordinate plane. So it helps you measure where these points are located. The x-axis is the horizontal axis right here. This goes on forever from the origin. We also have the y-axis, which is the vertical axis. Now, a point is an exact location in space represented by a dot. So this is considered a point. That's what it's referenced as. It's a location. The coordinate pair for that dot that helps us identify where this dot is located are two numbers that are used to identify the point on the plane. This written xy, where x represents the distance from 0 on the x-axis, and y represents the distance from 0 on the y-axis. Another term for coordinate pair is ordered pair. So coordinate pair and ordered pair are synonyms of each other. They mean about the same thing. So let's take a look at this point here. This is an exact location on this plane. Plane is this graph right here. So if I start at the origin right here, and I travel on the x-axis the distance of 4. So here's 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the x-axis. We'll then travel 5 on the y-axis. Now the y-axis is right here, but this is just the label for every one of these columns right here. So when we talk about the y-axis, we're saying, well, how high is it, or vertically do we go or travel along the y-axis? So we have traveled so far 4 on the x-axis, and now we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So the y-axis would be 5. So the coordinate pair is parentheses 4, 5 parentheses. Let's take a look at some of these. A, start our origin. Again, our origin is this circled point where both the y and the x intersect. First, we're going to travel on the x-axis, 1. Then we're going to travel 6 on the y-axis. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And here is A. Let's try B. We're going to start the origin, travel 2 on the x-axis, 10 on the y-axis. Oops. Here we go. Here is B. Again, 2 on the x-axis, and travel 10 on the y-axis. Number 11, 4, 4. Our x-axis is 4. Start our origin over 4, and then on the y-axis 1, 2, 3, 4. This would be the point E. The coordinate pair would be 4, 4. K, start the origin at 5. Travel 5 on the x-axis, 6 on the y-axis, and here is K. Point K, the ordered pair for K The x-axis is 5, the y-axis is 6. Let's try M. Start the origin, travel 3, but notice now the x-axis we travel 3, but on the y-axis we do not travel at all. There's no movement on the y-axis, so there's 3, which should be M, point M. O, we have our x-axis, start at origin, 9, y-axis is 4, and here we have the point O. Again, P, start the origin, head over 2 on the x-axis and 7 on the y-axis. This is the letter P, point P. Our x is 2, our y is 7. Start again. Now this is interesting because our x-axis is 0, which means we're starting at the origin. We don't actually move anywhere along the x-axis. We just stay here at the origin. We travel 8 on the y-axis, and there's the point R. The coordinate pair is 0, 8. Now, last two start at our origin. We travel 6 on the x-axis, 2 on the y-axis, and there's point S. Our x is 6, our y is 2, our order pair is 6, 2. Finally, letter T, start at origin, travel 7 on the x-axis, 10 on the y-axis, and there is our point T. Now, on this problem right here, it asks us which of these order pairs, 6, 8, 8, 8, 8, 6, or 8, 0, would follow this direction. Which order pair is a point 8 units right on the x-axis? Which means we're going to start at the origin, we're going to travel 8 units on the x-axis. Here we've traveled 8 on the x-axis. We're going to move 6 units on the y-axis. So again, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. There's our ordered pair. So we can see that we first traveled 8 on the x-axis. Well, it can't be this one. 8 on the x-axis, it's possible that it can be B. 8 on the x-axis and 8 on the x-axis. Then on the y-axis, we travel 6. Well, this says 8 on the y-axis. It can't be this one. It says 6. C is our correct answer. Explain why 5, 8, and 8, 5 are not the same point on the grid. Well, in this case, we know if we start at the origin, which is right here, and we travel the 5 on the x-axis and 8 on the y-axis, we get a point here. This represents 5, 8. On the other hand, if I still travel here, 8 on the x-axis and 5 on the y-axis, I get 8, 5. Why not the same points? The x-axis is 5 for the order pair 5, 8. The x-axis is 8 for the order pair 8, 5. Just looking at the x-axis, our first number in each of these ordered pairs, we can identify they're not the same point because we're not traveling along the x-axis to the same point. Let's look at some of these. The star. Our star is located right here. 0 on the x-axis, 5 on the y-axis. So we got our lightning. Here's travel from the origin, 10 on the x-axis, 1 on the y-axis. Here's our circle. Travel from the origin, 7 on the x-axis, 6 on the y-axis. Our heart. I start the origin, I travel on the x-axis 7, 10 on the y-axis. Our cross. Start the origin, travel 7 on the x-axis and 1 on the y-axis. Our triangle, start at the origin, travel 5 on the x-axis, 1 on the y-axis. The moon, travel from the origin, 8 on the x-axis, and it stays on the, does not travel at all on the y-axis, so it's 8, 0. Our square, if I start the origin, I've traveled 10 on the x-axis, 5 on the y-axis. Our diamond, start the origin, travel 5 on the x-axis, and 9 on the y-axis. And finally, our musical note, start the origin, travel 2 on the x-axis, and 3 on the y-axis. All right, determine the letter, which letter is at each coordinate using the grid below. 4, 8. If I travel at the origin 4, 8, I get A. To the origin 6, 7, C. So the origin, travel 2 on the x-axis, 10 on the y-axis, I get K. Travel 1 on the x-axis and 7 on the y-axis, I get J. Travel 8 on the x-axis, 9 on the y-axis, I get F. I travel 4 on the x-axis, 6 on the y-axis, I get H. Travel 3 on the x-axis, 6 on the y-axis, I get B. Travel 1 on the x-axis, 8 on the y-axis, letter G. Travel 10 on the x-axis, 9 on the y-axis, I get D. And finally, from the origin, travel 6 on the x-axis, 4 on the y-axis, I get the letter E. You guys nailed it.